I'm not a diplomat.
Time to introduce them to the new robot overlords.
Yeah.
Can I say something privately to Danson?
Absolutely, you can.
I think I might ask Danson, hey, do you remember that ship, the Sunspear, where they had an engine made
How could I forget?
made out of slave humans? Do you reckon that sort of situation could be happening here?
Anything's possible, I don't know, to be honest, Kiki. The last thing that I knew, he said, after everything that had happened and I'd been severed away from you, they're actually taking me to Eden. Now, Eden, which is actually spelled E-I-D-O-N in the game, is a sort of bad joke, because obviously to the humans we'd think of it as Eden. To everybody else though, it's the shipyard where they're disbanding and dismantling the Earth fleet from the war.
Right.
And it's actually a black hole. So Eden is a black hole. What happens is, basically, when they've got all the useful bits off the ship, they basically chuck everything else into the black hole.
Oh.
And Eden, the last thing that Danson knows is he's being towed there, basically because they can't. The problem with Navarian ships is, if they lose their captain, it's very difficult to bond another captain to them. So basically, the ship itself becomes useless.
Right.
So he, you know, when he says that to you, you kind of know what. So it's become a bit of a thing. You know, they've gone to Eden. You know, it's become a bit of a
Sort of farm.
short word for.
Up to the farm.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, exactly. Yeah. 4 legs good, 2 legs better, etc. Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Not that farm, I don't think, is what she was.
Well, yeah, but still, you know, you go off to the happy lands, don't you? But yeah. So yeah, that's basically what he says to you. It could be absolutely possible.
So yeah, and this, I'd probably say this to the group, like we have, only because I'm the only one that you can all understand. I'm not meant to be bossy. Now we can go, and we know, don't we, Browning, that one is energy control, one's research, one's gate engine.
Yeah.
Where do we think we should go, and why?
What's the little girl say?
What's the little girl say?
The little girl's kind of, you know, doing that thing where she's got her hands behind her back and she's kind of doing that with her foot and everything. And kind of, she's pointing down the corridor.
I'm
To a
going
particular-
to ask if any of us know what gate engine means, because James definitely doesn't.
Right.
Not a clue.
Well, like,
None of you know what gate engine means.
but could it be that thing?
I'll give you this. If any of you, and you can all have a go at it, and it's going to have to be a good roll, I want an 18 or better. And if you can do an erudition roll and give me a better than 18, I'll give you one little thing.
Let's find erudition.
I mean, are we all rolling? Because
Everybody can
I
have a
could-
go at it.
No.
15.
I've got 17.
17.
That's not 18.
No, I know.
Do you not
is
got
that one?
erudition?
That's a
on
7
here?
and a 4,
Yeah.
that's an
Right.
11 plus.
Yeah.
But I've only got 7
No.
and 5.
Yeah, we're all
Oh,
close.
sorry, I thought
Close
you
but no
had
cigar.
I got 15.
Something that's been happening to you while you've been walking through this place and you've been getting used to it is, there's something weirdly familiar about all this. You cannot put your finger on it, but a lot of the designs of the original civilization, the people that built it, you've kind of seen this stuff before. You've seen it somewhere. It's got some kind of weird familiarity about it, but it's not any of the known races that you lot are. But there's just something about this. If only you can just put your finger on where you've kind of seen these designs before.
Can we roll for it? Can we?
You just did.
Nice try though.
Can we roll for it again? Until I
Maybe
get an
a
18.
Can I roll for it at a +5?
But it's really vexing, and it's got this odd deja vu character to it that's like, yes, I've seen this somewhere. Why is this kind of in the back of my mind? It's
What's
got
I mean,
something-
why are we actually here? Why is it us? I mean,
Yeah.
Kiki, this is
What's
the thing.
happened?
Asking
What-
the big
what-
philosophical questions.
I am
and
now.
you just don't
I'm
answer.
definitely. It's what I'm starting to ask those big questions, Kiki, because you seem to be the only one who can talk to us all and know who everyone else is. Like, what is going on? Why are we all here? What brings us together?
Is there a god?
It is a deep question. Yeah. So, you have a monorail station, big corridor, lots of things that have been changed on it. Lots of noise coming from down this corridor. Many voices, probably at least 100. You know, that kind of type of noise. This is a group. This is a crowd. It's ahead of you, and your little sister, looking impatiently, waiting for you to do something, and she clearly wants you to go down the corridor.
Well, let's go down the corridor then.
Okay. Are you just going down the corridor? Are you sneaking down the corridor?
Well, yeah,
Are you
hang
sending
on.
one of you down
Oh,
the corridor?
hang on.
could I send a little
Can
bot?
I
as a
just
recce?
use 1/3 of myself? So you know, if I
Yeah.
die, then I'll
I'm
just
jumping
be
on your head
skull
again.
without
I
some
don't, I
legs.
don't want
No,
you
not
to
the
die. I
head.
thought maybe
The arse.
No, I think the
Sneak the
octopus
arse.
occupies the head.
Yeah,
There's like a
sort of
face
wrap
thing
around.
Sneak
going
in.
on.
You can sneak in my little a couple of
you could
bees.
sneak in,
We're gonna
have
sneak.
a little recce
Yeah,
with minimal peril.
yeah. Let's do
Yeah, I
that.
think that's
Minimal
It's time to
peril.
swarm,
minimal peril.
but only a third swarm towards
Okay,
the.
what's your sneak?
Quiver.
Whatever it is in this game.
Stealth.
Stealth.
4 stealth.
It's more my fault. I should have done it.
Oh, that's good.
Feel amazing.
22.
Oh, that's good.
That's the best roll yet.
Stealthy as
What
fuck.
you actually discover
Yeah.
you can do is you can get up into right up to the top because they're very high.
Right.
All these tunnels are really
Nice.
high.
Yeah.
And you actually get right up into the darkness at the top of these tunnels, and you can look down on what's going on. It's this weird juxtaposition of this whole thing that as you move in here, what's lighting it now are oil-covered torches and things like that. Are actually, you know, sconces have been hammered into the walls and all that kind of thing. So you've got like this weirdly high-tech thing, and then sconces stuck in the walls with torches in them. And as you move down, you start to see these yeti-like characters moving around. They're all wearing clothing and things now, which actually wasn't in the paintings that you saw on the walls earlier. They didn't seem to be, or certainly they weren't painted with clothes on in those pictures.
So they've
But
been
what you're seeing
civilised.
here is they've obviously made, found, whatever garments they're walking around. They've got kind of like longish robes on in purples and greens, reds, all sorts of things, with sort of a native embroidery on them and these kind of things. And one of them, there's some of them are banging on sort of hide drums and stuff. And there's kind of lots of people chanting and shouting, all this kind of stuff. There's even people going through the crowd, kind of, it looks like they're sort of selling things, you know, they're like
Ox
food or
spleens,
otters'
noses.
nipples, nipples, get mother up. There's all that kind of stuff going on, and people are having stuff, and there's a very much an atmosphere. And you see what's been constructed in the centre of this junction is kind of like an amphitheatre, and there's loads of these things, and there's a few. You see 6 or 7 figures in the middle of this thing, and they're all brandishing weapons in the centre of this huge crowd in this amphitheatre, and they're all kind of, you know, somebody's introducing. You guess would it's like and then someone's putting a spear together and they're that kind of thing. And this, yeah, if you like, yeah. I completely forget that you've got technology. So that's basically what you see, and as you keep watching, if you just continue to watch, you'll see that you just start to go through some kind of ritual combat kind of thing.
Yep.
And they're kind of, you know, they're
Is
fighting.
it they're trying to hate each other or it's just
Hang on. The audio's just stopped.
Oh, length on the thing. Press record, John, at the top.
an important
Oh,
bit.
now it's gone back to the beginning, hasn't it?
Oh, God, don't bring back to the beginning. Right. Right.
Has
Hang
it?
on.
Right,
Right.
okay, so
Just
that's
press, just press the red circle at the top. I think you must have nudged the space
Should we do
bar.
a?
No, it's okay. It's going to record over that bit. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
We don't miss anything.
Should we do a clap sync to?
Yeah,
That's
we've
a
had a
good
hand
idea,
wait.
Jack.
There you go. Oh, okay. Let's have 2 clap things.
Well, there's 2 cameras.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, you weren't in frame for that one when you did it. So,
Good point.
we probably should have done one for when we started the actual recording the first time.
You know
as
what,
well.
Jack? That would have been
A brilliant
fantastic,
idea.
wouldn't it? But
2
we were
hours ago.
all-
I
Yeah,
know.
great first time. 2 hours after a critical event.
So basically, that's what's going on. So at the moment, there's some form of combat, and yes, they do seem to be hurting one another. You don't know. No one's died yet, but definitely blood is being drawn and people are fighting and stuff. But and there's, you know, they could be any crowd ever, any gladiator thing that you've seen. It doesn't matter that they're furry creatures. They're all doing the things that we'd all be doing. They're all talking about, oh, look, he's going to win, and somebody's betting with so and so. And all the things you imagine are going on are absolutely going on.
And then that's it, one big arena. There's no
At the moment, from where you are, that's what you've seen. Amphitheatre-y type thing. There is a construction here that's nothing to do with they've used, they've obviously gone somewhere, got bits of other tech, and they have no idea what this tech is. So there's like computer screens piled up on top of something else, and then that's been lashed to a piece of steel bar that they've had from somewhere, and they've kind of constructed an amphitheatre out of things that have got nothing to do with constructing amphitheatres.
Right.
This is all bits of tech they've ripped from something else and just made it. It means nothing to them. Clearly, the tech can't. They're holding weapons that are bits of steel that have been strapped to some pole somewhere and what have you, that kind of thing. But they have been strapped. There's no welding. Things like that, so the technology's still people binding things to other things and that kind of stuff.
Go back and report to Kiki
yeah.
and share it.
Yeah.
And so basically, it tells you everything I've just told you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to relay that to the group.
Yeah. Now, what do you think we should do? Because clearly there's only Yeti type people in there, so we can't just wander in like, oh, we'll come and watch as well. You know.
They'll murder us.
Yes,
well,
they will.
murder
Yeah.
us.
Sneak in the back.
Yeah.
Can I do like a system scan on myself to just sort of understand that this is, though I am on giant treads, I'm not particularly built for fighting, like the movement and stuff. And what I want to see is, I figure it'll be either, yes, Jack, you can do that, or mechatronics to go, well, I'm the one that seems to have bits that could be used as weapons. Is there any way I could detach one of my arms, maybe in pincer or torch
Beat
mode?
people to death with it.
No, so one of the others has something, so I've still got one.
It's not meant to detach.
Oh.
But
It might be worth.
it was because I'm a tech bot. I figure I might be able to figure out how to do it without damaging myself.
You can take
but-
your arm off. It's not meant to, I mean, because they'd have to be, because if you damage it, you need to replace it
Yeah.
with something else. So you can do it,
Yeah,
but if it gets damaged,
I'm
You're gonna end
thinking
up with one
though,
arm.
given how many are through there from the description, if we put on an impressive show, they might not all pile on us. But if we look like we could easily be taken down, it might be worth me partially disarming if I can further arm.
It might be worth mentioning that Danson has a pretty good strength score as well.
Johnson is an 8-foot high, highly armoured gorilla.
So you're not the
Or-
only.
Well, what I was going to say
Big guy.
is, does he have? Because in the picture you showed, there wasn't anything particularly offensive.
He does a
So-
2d6 punch, I think.
Okay, right. If he's if his
In
muscles
melee
are
combat,
enough,
but he is actually skilled at using weapons. He
He's
just
quite
hasn't got
offensive.
it.
yeah. Well,
I
that's
can
why I was.
blind 4 people at once.
Yeah.
But again, we're doing what we did as the crew of the Danson earlier, which is
I have
potentially
Yeah, you
Yes.
have no record of that.
yes, but
Oh,
situationally, we're potentially going in aggressive
Yeah.
in a situation that might be problematic to be aggressive.
Yeah.
Given there are literally hundreds.
Yeah, no,
we're not
I'm
here
not
to
saying
massacre
I
her
go out.
civilization. We're not
Yeah.
looking to commit genocide.
Yeah.
so-
I'm not
Just
firing
don't
the
wanna
torches into the air as I
Maybe you should-
go in. Like the Doof warrior
It could
from
be a threat.
Mad Max. It was more, if things do go sideways, I don't want to be in a fight and someone says, "Quick, give me something," and I'm like, "Hang on, let me just detach my arm."
Yeah.
I know it.
Time.
Hang on,
It would probably
hang on.
take you about 20 minutes to, because there's hydraulics and there's all sorts of things.
Well,
and
I mean-
fuel pipes for your torches, all that shit. You'd have to control that.
If I'm aware that Danson is like well built for like if it comes to it,
Yeah.
he can just deck someone. Then I'll leave it at that. Then.
I'm going to jump off him,
Yeah.
and I'm going to sneak my way, hopefully,
Oh.
to the
You know how this goes.
Oh no.
to the research corridor.
Oh, okay. That sounds more
Okay,
safe.
right.
That sounds quite
It
good.
will not be one roll to do it.
Okay.
It will be multiple rolls to do it, but absolutely you can have a go. So
Okay.
you can make your way down the beginning of the corridor, no problem.
Are there any kind of like pipes and duct work that I can limber onto?
There are pipes and ductwork because it's not constructed that way. That's all behind the corridors and things. However, the way that the vaulted ceilings things are constructed, for somebody as nimble and able to climb as you are, you could definitely get hold of some of those things and make your way across the ceiling, probably.
Yeah, because I think being outside of the
Absolutely,
viewpoint,
nobody's really looking up, and they are all concentrating on the fight that's going on.
I will tell Kiki that's what I'm doing
Oh,
just
that's
before I go off and do it.
Right, okay. Drop that, man.
I'll drop that secret again. I'll grab that in a minute.
Tell me what you got.
15.
Oh, just about. So yeah, you start to make your way across the ceiling. You kind of hang on. You can see as you're kind of upside down and you're kind of hanging on. You're sort of gripped with your four hands, as it were, onto the thing. And you sort of look down. You
My
can see
tail's just like.
yeah. They're kind of dragging a couple of they're not dead, but they're definitely injured. Well, they might be dead, actually. You can't really tell. But they're definitely being dragged out of the arena. The others are still fighting and stuff. There's maybe 6 left now that are fighting in the middle of the arena. The crowd's really getting behind this now. The roar and everything. You're about a third of the way across, so we're going to need at least 2 more rolls to make it down into this research corridor.
10.
The problem that you don't
From the
fall off
ceiling.
or anything terribly dramatic like that. However, the problem that you've got is just waiting for it to go to this. The problem you've got is
That
there's
was
a
so
gap.
nearly Snake Eyes, by the way. 2 2s.
So there's a gap and there's nothing, part of the ceiling's got damaged and the vaults that you've been kind of using to kind of go across, that bit of the ceiling is deteriorated and you've got a gap to get across. So you could leap for it, but it's going to take quite a roll. That's a pretty decent bit of dexterity, and if you
you'll
miss,
do it, no worries.
I'm gonna. Ooh. Quint would do it.
Quint would absolutely do it. I do agree.
Come on, baby.
Oh,
Better.
What did you get?
12 and 2. I rolled a 12. So 20.
20.
20.
Wow. So absolutely you do. It's no problem at all. What happens and how do you get across the rest of the ceiling? That roll's going to take you right to the end of the research thing. So
Well,
what else?
Quint's been kind of experimenting with the tail and has worked out that it gives Quint quite a bit of momentum.
So if you sort of get your tail going and then swing and then you sort of do a
Nice.
Nice loopy and then.
Yeah.
And Quint's also worked out that, actually having hands for feet is quite handy too.
Yeah.
So it's like a full-bodied,
grippy grip.
kind of robotic breath hold for a moment and a little sneaky look down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Nobody. They're completely focused on what's going on. Nobody. And let's be honest, they're not used to flying things, so they wouldn't be looking for flying things that are coming after them. So you absolutely make it across, and Quint vanishes down the research corridor. What's the rest
That
of
was
you
fun.
doing?
That was fun. Is
It was
all
good.
you're hearing.
Oh, right.
Well, I was
She's
going to
made
say, is it
They've
a
made
wireless communication or is she shouting back to us?
You
That
can-
was
yeah.
fun!
Actually, it does actually say on Kiki's character sheet. You can hear the communications through considerable distance,
Yes,
and B
thank
through
you
quite
for
impervious
pointing,
materials.
for pointing that out. I
However,
was getting to that.
that said, as she goes down the corridor, as you imagine, so as you go down the corridor, it's like that was fun. And that's the end of the communication cuts off.
Oh no.
You
Yeah.
four are on the other side of the arena. What are you doing?
Well, I've not
Wow.
noticed this till now because it's been written in a very confusing way.
Oh,
But-
it's my fault.
yeah, but it
And it
says
smells funny.
it smells weird, and it's moist. So I can communicate. Kiki can communicate over
That's just the swarm bots.
planet-wide distances and through dense materials.
With dancing, isn't it?
No.
No, it's
No,
just
The
that's
combat
good.
Oh, your
is
combat,
designed
right.
for
Right.
communication.
So this is
Right.
definitely
It's
out
a
of
job.
parameter that
Well,
I've
something,
dropped off.
as you go down the research corridor, cuts off your
Oh
communication.
right. Okay. Yeah. So
Oh.
maybe there's something about
And we don't distantly see a giant wall or something.
Light
Just,
or something, yeah.
that was
I
fun,
like
that
it.
was fun, that was...
Well, I was
Could be a
thinking
counter signal, couldn't it? There could be like a cloak, like a
cloaking.
yeah, something that they're.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
yeah,
more.
like how noise cancelling headphones work.
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
Right, good analogy.
I'm sure it's
Yeah.
something very innocuous like that.
Yeah.
I was thinking more that could I communicate with the Yeti folk through the wall without any peril?
Well, you didn't go down the corridor, so you don't know whether you could understand the language or not yet.
But I can because I have an excellent communicator and can understand or learn almost any language.
You can, but you haven't been to hear them yet. He went to hear them.
Yes, but I know that I can learn. I don't understand.
So you don't know if you can yet because you've not heard them speak. You may very well be able to
Right.
understand them, but you didn't go down the corridor.
have to get near.
Ross's character went down the corridor. So it's if you want to go and find out, absolutely go and wander down the corridor and go and speak to someone.
Okay, I'll do that.
But that Kiki can do it planet-wide distances.
Yeah, I
so
don't
they
understand how
can.
these two I can't just hear through the wall and
Yeah.
decide.
So I think it's more like
But they're
a
not
communications unit
Ah,
with other
yeah,
robots.
They're not on
Links.
It's different
they're just
to
talking down the corridor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
and
before-
it's an echoey, huge room. You know what it's like when you know
Yeah.
if you walk past Old Trafford when there's a band playing, you can hear there's a band playing and you can hear that it's music, but
Mm.
actually telling what it is
Yeah.
that's hearing because it echoes off all over the
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
You get the idea? Yeah.
Before you walk off and get murdered by talk to yetis.
Yeah.
Should we not try and do something else? Because
By the way,
once the
I was gonna say,
use of the
that
Do you want
voice-
to make another? Yeah. Can you make another test on
I
his
mean-
voice because he didn't use his Italian voice? So if you want to,
in my flawless Italian accent.
Yeah, hang on a minute.
No. You
Yeah,
didn't use your
certain.
flawless Italian accent.
Okay.
So if we can make
Also,
Miss Scusi.
let's not
We
forget-
amore.
so 2d12
What's this erudition?
erudition.
Please
What's
let that be
that?
low.
6. I can't do
Cunning
that.
max. You're on
14
cunning.
plus
12 plus 5.
Yeah,
however, I'm
14
just going to make
plus.
you roll 2d12 because you forgot to do your accent. So just 2d12 no bonus.
19.
Yeah.
19.
Oh yes, it's a combat. Well,
12 plus 5.
17. It's
He
quite a
failed.
good
But
roll.
one of them's a 12.
Ah.
what do you get?
But he still didn't.
Yeah,
make
so he
it.
still failed, but he has
Yeah.
one
Come on.
positive thing.
With the best
No.
piece of bullshit you possibly
19.
can as to
19.
why she isn't immediately going to say, I know that voice and that's Solomon Beckett. So you absolutely, that voice is Solomon Beckett, but he's rolled a 12, which gives him like a bonus thing
Yeah.
to do. So I need some very rapid bullshittery.
Okay.
You sound, so I might be like, you sound like
I'll
Solomon
start-
Beckett. Explain yourself.
Realising my mistake, I will start to then talk in higher and lower octaves to make it sound like it's the robot's voice box fucking up.
I
And
love that that's...
unfortunately, because he's rolled a 12, I'm going to have to let that stand.
Really?
Yeah.
So you took it a very different route
So
from
it's like,
how I
just
was.
for a second, for a minute, it was like, whoa, I know who that is, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then he alters his voice again and kind
And
of gets
I-
around it. But you are
I'm not fooled.
very suspicious.
I am. What am I calling you anyway, friend?
Schmallum and Schmecken.
Octo will do.
Right.
Different octaves.
right.
Because,
Right, Octo will do. What do you think we should do?
Okay. Not split the party. That's what I think.
Too late.
If you're asking about that.
well,
Too late.
one of them's already.
No,
The one character that can be split into three. So don't
Yeah.
split the bottom.
That's true. Actually, I can join every.
Over to you, Dan. Say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this goes without saying. I'm trying to disguise my voice.
Yes.
Does it go without saying?
Wow.
I think you should
we'll
say
talk
it.
about get out of it.
Yeah.
I want it in multiple octaves. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I should think of what other accent I can do that won't be massively offensive to someone.
You gotta have to make one up because otherwise you're gonna offend someone.
Yeah.
I've heard your accent.
Just do the octave thing again.
I think we should.
Now that's offensive to me.
Comedy gold, right?
Get the big robot, and we all attach to him to look like a chimera, and look like a terrible robotic monster.
With a terrible robotic voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. And that's my idea. Is it? Yeah, no, we all just sort of
I'm
clamber
glad
onto
I
you,
did
You
it.
could just sound like Stephen Hawking and talk like this.
which would be offensive.
Yeah. I mean, if yeah, I was gonna say, if it's me and Danson sort of Megazord it up, so I'll like, or Voltron, your mileage may vary, but because obviously he's the other really big one. If I like put arms against him so the tracks are going behind, so I'm not lifting his entire weight, because I imagine between the two of us we won't have an issue lifting the rest of them, but just.
Oh, what I'm thinking of is like a Dread Pirate Roberts thing, where he comes up in the wheelbarrow and
Yeah.
he's on fire. We just sort of bullshit our way into them thinking we're some sort of robot god.
Why didn't you do an Andre the Giant voice?
Fuck, I should have done, yeah.
That's your next one.
Right, so those are the suggestions. But what's your plan? What are you going to do? You can't just roll up and go and talk to them. You
Don't
don't
they
do
hate
any of
robots though? Am I missing a trick here? But they like, don't they
Well,
fight?
do
we-
they hate robots, or are they just not? Are they just pre-robots as a
Right.
civilization?
And the ones we saw that had torn apart robots were from what appears to be some time ago
Oh yeah, there
in
was
their
some.
people's
Yes, and
history.
Ancestral teachings never matter.
We might even be mythological at this point
True.
if they've not come out again. Because why would you when heading down that path just leads to you freezing to death?
No.
Apparently, I need to roll again.
Oh.
I'm not sure what you're rolling for. You'd ask me, can I roll for something? So
No, you looked at me as if you were wanting me to roll.
No, it was Jack said that. Like that what
Oh,
Jack
right,
said.
yeah, I thought you were pointing at the
The
side.
drawings,
Mm.
and I was just going to say that bit that you didn't ask me, but I would have told you. Clearly, there's a lot has happened from that set of drawings that you originally saw to the much more advanced art and things that you've. You know, that didn't happen overnight. One thing to another.
The ancestral teachings of doom
There is
and
that.
hatred, warfare,
I mean, or
fear.
right, but if like Loki were to show up, you wouldn't immediately deck him. You'd be like, "I'm sorry, what's going
If
on?"
I'm the
And then
Hulk.
he'd have the chance to. I mean, you are casting aspersions on a whole race of people at the minute.
How-
but,
How about you, Sky Beast? A third of you goes into the auditorium, and through my communication through wall skills,
Freak them the.
You want to learn their language?
well, I was just thinking, could you communicate via me somehow? And then there's only a third of you at risk, and
Like-
we can be like, we come in peace, can we come in?
Oh, okay, I quite like that.
Is that
And
okay?
that's a risk that you're prepared for him to take.
I'm prepared to take that.
a risk you
Only a
prepared for a
third of
third
it.
of it.
Very
to
big
take,
of you.
yeah.
We are missing a trick here. This could become a psyop like they did in Vietnam. Well,
Yeah.
where we send him in threes, and we get her to learn the language and then pretend to be the ghosts of their ancestors.
Oh
telling them to
yeah, now you're talking. But you can fly away as
I
well.
can
I
fly
feel
away.
like your
I'm
peril's
happy
very
to. My
limited.
power's lower, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy to try that. That seems like a.
Right.
That's a pretty good plan, actually. Skip. Back to
Thanks.
Skipper.
Thanks.
Yeah, Captain. Yeah,
Thanks.
that's why we're mates.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trust you. Nice. Yeah, all right.
Right. Okay.
In
Done.
you go.
Hello guys, it's me, Robot God.
Yeah. So I'm just
I'm
gonna.
back.
I am going to
You're gonna
say
go down
what
the-
you tell me word for word. That's you're actually going to do the talking.
Oh right. Yeah,
I'm
okay.
just
And you're just gonna
projecting
do some
through my-
buzzing.
Well, what
Through
you'll
my little mini speakers.
just to put in, what you'll have to do at first is you'll have to listen for a bit,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
she can start to work.
That's
the
just a
language
hover
out,
and chill out.
then, yeah,
I
basically.
can do that. So do
Stealth
again.
So, Sarah,
Yes,
Quint,
yes.
you've gone down the corridor.
I have.
The corridor gets down to sort of more manageable proportions, these vast expanses and things you've been going through. Clearly this is much more, would have been like the practical stuff, where people walk down corridors and go and do things and actually do useful stuff. And you find yourself sort of going down these corridors, but there's a lot, it's not like all of the yetis are in the thing. You've literally walked into another society now that's around. You're going to have to sneak about. So you're not going to be high enough up to go along the ceilings and not be noticed, because this is all going to get down to normal corridor size things. So there are, there's stuff piled up. There are woven baskets and things sort of down the corridors. There's things that have been hung up. There are tapestries and stuff that have been hung up on these walls. You're in areas that these yeti use. Right now there's nobody here, but there's sure as hell gonna be. So what are you gonna do to sort of get down these corridors?
Well, you're telling me that there's a lot of side cover, actually at ground level now.
You're not going to do the thing I was really hoping you were going to do when I just described that. You're not going to like
Tapestries.
push the feet out of one of the baskets and
Yeah.
like, put your little eye.
He literally said the words woven baskets. Surely that just.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Maybe if you'd said the word Scooby Doo as well.
Yeah, you could Scooby Doo it. Yeah.
Quint is a professional.
What's not professional about that? It works.
Mystery Inc. solved a lot of crimes.
Okay, so you're basically going to hide in the shadows, make your way
Yes,
down through the cover and
stealthily,
everything.
yes.
Go for it.
13, 19.
Oh, there's just no stopping you, is there?
No stealth.
This is
Yes,
this, you
I'm
do know,
good at
this
getting
is,
you.
You realise you're doing exactly the same thing.
I
don't
do.
you?
Great at getting it. Getting
Okay.
out is a whole different ballgame.
So, It's a bit odd because it's almost like as a technological person, you have sort of two visions of what's going on. There's the overlay of this other society with woven baskets and tapestries and all this kind of stuff, and the smelling of cooking food and meat and fires and all that. Beneath that, you can see the hardened Crete walls of some ancient culture far beyond the technical means of the people that are living here right now. And as you go through rooms, what you're actually seeing is banks of equipment, screens that might read out things if only they were turned back on. You pass all sorts of stuff. You can see that some of the things that these people are using are glass vessels that would have been used for like research or experimentation things, but they're now being used like cooking pots, vases, decorative ware. They've all been repurposed and made into other things.
You mentioned earlier that some of the areas were lit, which suggests that there's power going through it. Is there power through
there's
this
oil,
area?
There's like oil lamps, torches, that kind of stuff. So it's all been lit by much less technological means than you've been used to. Down here, you've not seen anything. So you did on the monorail, you saw things where there was a bit of light, and you came into an area that was lit and lush and all that. But down here, it's very much, this is stuff that they've created a civilization. They are lighting it their own way. There are, if you watch for long enough, people are coming around. These things are kept going all of the time. It's the only light down here. They're coming around, topping them up, swapping out the torches.
Oh, right, so I can
People
get
do
an
this
idea of the timings of their patrols.
Yeah, if you want
Which
to
will
hang
help
around
me.
for long enough, but that's going to take a while, So,
Well, I'm going to spend a little bit of time looking around, especially in the room you said with the screens,
yeah.
to see if there's any way of getting power back on, because it will freak them out, but it'll also be interesting. And it might cause a diversion, but I want to see if there's anything I can interface with.
I don't think I gave you
No.
a penis, as it were.
You didn't.
No. So if you can just make a sort of...
Damn, not this time.
Make a computer roll.
Okay. Oh!
Oh, nice.
14, 15, 16.
Okay. So with your 12, you have a bit of good fortune because actually what you've rolled isn't enough to understand what's going on. But what you actually find is what, for all the world, would probably look like a technical manual.
Oh, look at that.
Well, such a shame.
You basically find an orange. It's an orange binder.
But I see it. Whatever.
Oh, because it's paperwork. God damn it.
Brilliant. If I had pennies, I'd give you one. Brilliant. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like, whatever. So, nothing that says press here to initiate power.
If only your original technical manual just handed you, it would tell you exactly.
Not even the
what
quick
to find.
start. No,
No.
right.
Paperwork.
It's not for
Well,
you.
It's not my thing.
See, I'm wondering if it'd be really weird for your
Unemployable.
character to pick it up, see it, and just go, huh, I can read. Because I assume the computer can.
Yeah. I just love the idea that the little girl is now literally just. You can hear now, and it's sort of quite amusing in a way, because it's just like you could be listening to any conversation, right? It's so typical. As he's buzzing around, so he can isolate conversation by moving around.
How has he gone in?
Yeah, maybe.
Right,
He went down the
okay,
corridor
yeah.
and stuff, and we're assuming you can fly high enough.
Yeah.
So you pick up on Grunthar's doing brilliantly. I knew he would. I've put 18 pexos on him to win this fight. He's going to get through that. And oh god, these nipple chips are horrible. They're dead old. And you can hear all these different conversations going. It's like, I wonder who's going to win though to go down and beat the beast. I mean, who's going to get the chance to go? Who's going to do it? It's like, oh, my money's on Grunthar again. So you start to pick up on all that stuff. Something also from the imagery that you're picking up, because you're not only just getting the comms back, but the visual stuff that he's sending back to you. There's definitely, you get the sense that there are castes within the society, so some of the ones in these ornate robes and things are just set aside for everybody wearing less colourful garments and that kind of stuff. So there are probably people who are kind of like the higher ups, the mucky mucks, that kind of stuff. But you understand it, you're definitely hearing language that you can get and that kind of thing. So if you want to speak, he can be understood.
Right.
I think the words, choose your words carefully.
Would I be able to speak to every Yeti? Or am I
You can, because you are a comms robot and you can broadcast, so you can, you know, like.
Oh,
he
yeah.
can't.
Yeah, but I speak the language. I understand the language.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I can, because I can communicate through walls and
planets.
stuff. Through planets.
Yeah, but you
So-
can't yell to an entire planet.
What you're
at
on
once.
about is
Yes,
being
yeah.
basically a bullhorn.
Yeah.
Yeah? If you want to roll in there, you can absolutely be a bullhorn.
Can
Or
you not channel? I thought you could
Yeah,
play
I
your
thought you could
voice
with your
through my
speakers.
speakers.
You can, but your speakers are tiny wee things and are doing trouble.
Not until I drilled the swarm together.
So you're sending the
Gig
whole
speaker.
swarm. You're sending the whole swarm through.
Well, I
there is
could,
only a third of you.
I could
in there.
send another third. I can afford, I think. So I'll send in 2/3
To
of
make
the
it loud
swarm and
enough.
form like one of those massive speakers you get at gigs.
I know what you're trying to do. Yeah, you,
I was
you know.
going to say to you, is
Yeah.
it like an obvious, you know, you talked about the hierarchies, like somebody that like looks like the one in charge.
Oh,
Do we go and talk to them?
just go to the
You
the
could
swankiest.
whisper
looking.
in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
have you been passing on to us what you're observing as well, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seems like something
Then
I
I'm
do.
going to see if one of my.
Oh, I reckon that the little jaw thing, that's what it does. I reckon it kind of drops and there's a little VDU screen.
Because I was going to say if I've recognised this caste system, I've been told about this caste system. I'm going to check if any of my attachments are a printer, so I can do as much as I remember from Animal Farm, just to really leave trouble in my wake when we're out of this planet.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, you could probably get the Communist Manifesto. It's shorter. I
Yeah,
think.
no, true, it is. And would definitely cause more trouble after we're gone. Yeah.
It is
But-
kind of what James would do, actually.
well,
He
I
is
think-
Tries to bring
he's
and
down
actually
also,
going
society.
to time
there's
as well.
no prime
Anarchist.
directive here.
Yeah.
That you know of.
No.
Well,
So,
there might be prime directive for these
what's
aliens
the
here.
plan? Broadcast? Whisper quietly?
I think whisper quietly.
You're going to go for whisper quietly? Okay, so I can send like a couple of the little bots
Well,
down.
I'm happy
It's me, God!
Whisper quietly and carry your big
Hello.
I was going to say, whisper quietly in the direction of the microphone. It's me, God!
Then find a couple of the
Right.
swankiest like
You can find there's an area of higher ups
Yep.
or better dressed people. Within that area, there is also an area with people who are clearly the uppy ups. So
Yeah.
the uppy ups.
Yeah, go behind
So
the velvet
Yup,
rope.
And they are talking, and what they seem to be talking about is kind of rudimentary politics, quite frankly. They're sort of, you know, mentioning names and things, and which I might even have some, which I put on my phone. Sorry, excuse me one moment. So from what you can work out, one of these things called Acno is talking to another one called Utago, and they seem to be talking about Grunthos, this one who's in the fight, and sort of saying, well, it looks like he is going to be the one, so we better sort of get ready to make a speech then and get down there and organise this. And we don't want this to go on for too long because we don't want him to get badly injured, because we do actually have to send him off to do the fighting with his team to go and
Right.
kill the monster. So you know,
monster. Interesting. We've got leverage there. We can leverage that. We could help kill the monster.
Or we
You-
could
You
are the
use
monster.
It might be the
Acno
monster.
Yeah.
seems to be married to somebody called Hampshire. You're sort of picking up all this in conversation. These people, she's just complaining about the wine isn't very good.
Oh,
Classic.
right. So I think it might be like, hello, Acno and Utago.
It's me, your conscience.
So, this is your conscience. Yeah.
This is the voice
we
of
have-
the Mr.
We haven't
Ross.
spoken in some time.
Don't be alarmed that I appear to be a bunch of bees. Like it's fine.
Oh, you see, I was thinking there was one just landed
Yeah.
behind them that they wouldn't see.
It's not a full swarm. Yeah, just a couple.
All swarm. So
There's a
maybe
swarm
you,
of hornets.
Stereo sound. I was thinking stereo sound. Yeah, left and right. Just,
Wow.
maybe you formed into a nice shape for them.
Floating
You become
phallus.
a big mouse.
Yeah. I mean, I'm straight to dick.
Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't be alarmed by the fact that I'm a bunch of bees talking to you. That's what you would say.
Yeah. Well, you're saying it through the speaker.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I understand that I speak on behalf of. You've got an opinion?
I'm like.
Yeah, she's not really.
She's not with you.
Comms is
Well,
gone.
hush then.
Then keep the sighing to a minimum.
I know it's always me that has to do these things. Right, I'm
Captain Kiki.
Yeah, and also because of what the rest of us rolled.
not a captain. I'm not a captain of this lot. I just
That's
happen to be a
true.
captain.
Well, that's true, actually.
Yeah, I know.
It's
Yeah,
funny how
but I'd show up like. Meh, meh, meh,
Yeah, they can speak, but no one will understand them.
yeah.
Right.
Flubberdob.
So I'm here. I represent a group of bots. Heroes. We have a lot of skills, and I understand that you have a monster you might need some help with.
special skills.
Show yourself. Who speaks? Show yourself.
Show
Can you
yourself,
hear that?
Phantom.
And there's like, and Tiger's going, yeah,
I mean,
and he grabs one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, stop that. That's me knob. Let go.
It's like, yeah.
you dare touch your lord's knob.
Oh no, actually.
Sorry, you were saying.
My God, you know, and they're all peering at this thing. They've never seen anything. You know,
See, I
quite
suggested
startled.
it as a joke before, but if we're hearing what's going on, I can just say, "Do you want me to go in with the torches firing? It'll probably be very impressive."
Oh, but I don't want to frighten them. We're already frightened by the bunch of bees, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but it's like
It
if
is
you can.
attracting a bit of attention that the two main sort of people are now going and doing stuff, and people are like looking over and wondering what's going on and things.
I don't
Keep
know.
it up, we can cause a revolution. Make
Show
them think they're
yourself.
crazy.
Oh, quick thought, right,
Yes,
so
God.
when I was looking at the cave
Thank God.
painting, is there any kind of symbol that they see as their thing?
Yeah.
Or like a peace thing? What's their symbolism?
so good.
I know, I could swarm myself into a
Swarm
symbol
it.
that is like peace,
Peace.
but like
Yeah.
their
Nice.
thing.
Yeah.
I will give you 3d12. If you roll a 12 on one of those, you can tell me what their symbol is.
But bear in mind, it does have to appear on a shirt.
You already did it. So you tell me.
Right,
What was
well,
in the paintings?
So come back to their likeness to like strap things together. So I reckon
Strap-ons?
that that's what they do.
Do you want to draw it?
I'll draw it, yeah. I am a terrible
Do
drawer.
not draw a strap on. I am not having these people worship. Oh God!
Do you want-
found one of the
Do you want
sex
multiple
toys?
colours?
Oh, what have I done? Oh God!
This is exactly what I knew would happen as soon as you said you can tell me what the
This is
symbol
the very
is.
definition of car crash television, isn't it? Oh.
It's not too bad.
And in the
It's a candy cane.
There's more.
there's always more.
Oh, I'm terrible at drawing. This is not my fault.
Apparently it's ribbed. I'm getting really worried.
And obviously for the not live version, it will appear behind us.
Are you trying to draw a strap on because it's terrible?
I don't really know.
Wait,
Isn't that the curve to?
uh,
Is that not the G spot?
Zoe, do you want
That's more of
to
a
draw
knife.
one for the?
I
I'm
will
giving
draw
you
a
the
strap
black
on.
so you can do it bigger and blacker.
Incidentally.
Drawing. It was kind of, the idea was it was
It's not a million miles away
It's
from
like a-
Prince's symbol.
think about like a big metal thing with like an end bit, but like a drain pipe.
We all are.
And stuff on the
Believe
end
me,
of
we
it.
all are.
And then like a knife bit at the end of it.
I'm not thinking that.
Maybe.
So is this a giant one of those that they've all in this picture that they've all been?
All right, to finish it off, what it might have is like a shoulder strap then, or some kind of strap.
Oh,
To hold it down
okay.
your back.
So it's a man-portable sharp metal thingy with a boot.
It's an unportable strap-on.
So-
Aren't they all?
Yeah,
I sort of hope they were.
Well,
but
Well, one of them
also,
portable.
Yeah.
But
if it requires a shoulder strap, it's a very large one.
So they're simplified version of it.
that's the worst fake nose.
I have no
Okay.
personal
I do like the vibration marks you put.
Someone's left his arm. Oh,
That's the
my
fight.
God.
That's the simple version of it, though.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
That's not like a proper symbol.
So
That looks
now
like a
that we
dog
know
strap
about
on.
this,
It's been developed over
it's an
millennia.
alien.
No, I was going to say.
Different anatomy.
Yeah.
In which case, should use this one.
For
transform
So
yourself into that
I
then,
swarm into that symbol,
and they go.
and that lights up as well.
And they
so it's
go,
like
Janet! That's a
pulses.
secret.
Pulses.
Give it a wiggle as well, just so
Like
they
the
know where
dice,
you are.
like the dice stuff, like these dice. Oh, stop doing
As
it.
the
Like that,
game
like
comes
that,
crashing
like that,
I
like
can't
that.
tell it right across.
Bloody
Suddenly,
red.
everybody. Let's see.
You know that.
How would you react to a giant flying strapple in your face?
A giant
That
neon
flashes.
palace
Flashes.
arriving before
Light
my
up.
very eyes.
The premonition from my dreams. It's happening.
Sadly, they cancel out, but it's like the roll. It's the roll that means everything to this. I've rolled a 12,
Yeah.
Oh.
and I've rolled a 1.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like the thing. I'm just going to go with they cancel each other out, so we've got 13. They literally, they you know, totally. It's like, oh, everybody sees this. Everything stops, and the men were hitting one another and everything. The middle of the thing also like suddenly realise that nobody's paying any attention to them. And they all turn around, and you know the bit where the Ewoks see Goldenrod for the first time, you know, and what have you. Ooh, ooh, and everybody's kind of, where is he? And they all, oh, great one. What? We didn't believe it was you, but now we believe it's you. And I've suddenly turned into Azidos.
Yeah.
I'm whispering, Captain. Skip.
Yeah. I'm not
You've definitely got the
But
retention.
you are.
Alright,
that's
fine.
kinda
Like,
why
let's
I
keep
see
it
what
on
you're
the
doing.
now, isn't there?
Yeah.
I have nothing to do with this.
I would say.
Now what the hell do I
I don't
do?
even know who you are.
Look, fly a little higher and we'll all walk through while they're looking up in the air.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think it'll work
We
with
all
the two
walk through,
giant
and then
robots.
Jack comes through.
Yeah.
It's all going really well until the 8-foot-tall gorilla turns up.
Yeah.
So.
And you've got the retention for sure.
Everybody
Literally
gangster.
everything stopped. There's maybe a couple of hundred
So
yetis
it's
just
like-
like, oh.
And they'd be like, "Don't be alarmed, my children.
Excellent.
I mean you no harm. I represent a group of
Other gods?
other strap-on based creatures. No, I represent a group of robots. Is there a reaction from the audience to that word?
They don't understand what robots is.
Right, okay. Because before they were killing all the robots, they've forgotten about
Don't tell them that.
that.
You know, the guys you hate.
It's not a robot. Right. We would like to help you kill this monster. We mean you no harm.
We will lend you our greatest warriors. We will do anything to help you.
Oh, I thought you were helping me. That's right. Okay. Yeah, cool. Let's crack on.
And then I roll in, flames firing in the air.
What's happening then? What are you doing?
Well,
Are you all going in?
I like Jack's idea.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, okay,
Right,
so
what am I
make-
blasting on the
entrance.
speakers? War pigs.
Yeah, yeah. And then I want your head spinning like a
We can't do any more, otherwise we'll get content
Yeah.
struck.
Yeah, no, we've got to go. Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to bring in my crew now. Don't be alarmed by their appearance. Some of them are very big. Some of them are very strange.
I don't know why you're saying that. That was a phallus. Yeah, okay. So are you all going down the corridors then?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I'm taking everyone in. Fuck it.
I was going to suggest something to the Octobot, but
No,
I
go
can't communicate with him directly.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to whisper to.
Yeah, you can go
yeah.
through me.
Hang on my face like we're Cthulhu or something.
Oh yeah.
Just for the tentacles hanging down.
Okay, you're going. You okay?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, they get the cultural reference of.
Oh, it's not. It's, not,
It's the
oh,
one
shit.
Earth literature they
Right.
have.
Oh, good.
It's all fine. And it was the old ways. We have not seen you in millennia. Until the techno Cthulhu comes around the corner and everyone shits themselves. basically. There's 200 yetis scream in terror and start stampeding. They're trying to get out of the
I
arena.
said don't do
They're
that.
going batshit, anything to get away from you. The fighters in the arena immediately try and get to the mucky mucks, the upper ups,
Yeah.
and they try and get around them and try and protect them and form a sort of protective wall around
That's
them,
nice.
ready to, fight this horrible tentacle beast that's now just wandered down the corridor. I rolled the double one.
It was a pretty big reaction. I knew it'd be something like that.
So I mean, it was all going really, really well. You're very carefully making your way down the corridors, and then there's just screams, yells, all sorts of things behind you, and people come tear-arsing down this corridor. You're gonna have to make me some pretty cool hidey roll.
I'm gonna just try and also look cute.
You're now gonna get in a basket and cut eye holes in it.
Yeah.
Doesn't look
Suddenly,
silly
it's a
now.
brilliant idea.
Yeah.
16.
Okay. So far, so good. You have hidden yourself sort of behind some crates and things, but
Everybody I just get one
there's
foot
people
through it.
but it's quite dangerous. I mean, there's people falling over stuff. And
Yeah, but they're
tripping
not
and
looking,
tripping
are
and
they? They're
stuff.
trying to get out of there.
Yeah. So they're not looking for you, but
Not
people are
for a
getting
giant
hurt and
monkey,
stampeding
right?
and all sorts of things.
Kiki, maybe point out, would they expect the thing here to defeat the giant monster that they hate would look pathetic?
Yeah, I feel like I've already told them everything.
Yeah.
Just being dicks now.
So,
So I put on a strap-on show, and I was very nice about it.
I'm not doing that character up, by the way.
really glad to hear it.
Oh.
That's Patreon.
Fine, I'll do it for the Patreon.
Yeah. Basically, eventually, the stands clear. There are these few. The great and the good are still there, and they're trying to be brave because obviously they're trying to show that they. There are people being trampled. There's people hurt lying on the floor. There's
That's
people
your
stuck
fault.
in the arena. All sorts of things have gone on.
I think if there was a monkey with us, then this never would have happened. My fault.
But you've absolutely got their attention. They are utterly terrified, and these fighters are in front of them.
Well, I'm in there now, aren't I?
Mm.
I've all rolled in.
Yeah.
I'm physically rolled in.
Yeah.
I go, look, I'm only a little ball. It's
I'm so cute. Look at me.
simmer
I'm just a
down.
little boy.
Are you carrying on with the whole? You're still hanging on.
Yeah,
Doing
1000%.
all that?
Yeah, I just
You've
go.
not decided that maybe at this point scaring them.
Well, we're not exactly sure what we were expecting, so we just thought, well, this is probably what the captain wanted.
I'm the spectre of your caste system. Here, have some literature.
They-
Get copies of Marx.
Can we offer you food?
Don't think we eat, love.
Okay.
Listen, simmer down. I've already told
Point.
you. We're not going to hurt you. Told you. Right? Gather your people, your leader or not.
So they sort of put out the call and they try and get word out and they send runners and things. It's like it's okay, it's fine, it's fine. Everybody just
chill your
We're
boots.
meant to look like
they
this.
bring in healers
Very
and they
rude,
sort of start
actually.
carrying the wounded and trying to help people out and all this kind of thing. There's a lot of people up and down this corridor.
I'm staying put.
Okay. So,
Well, you
And-
could come out now and I could be like, oh, it's one of us.
Quint is very. Well, I can't hear you. That's the problem. And Quint is very patient. Quint can just sit there.
Quint's
for-
happy.
Yeah.
In a basket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just patient. Just wait. Right time. Right moment. Quint will move. But right now.
What was this a basket of before you jumped in?
I think you'll be hiding behind the goods.
Yeah.
Not going, why do they have a basket of fish heads?
Yeah. And I was going to make it like lethal scorpions.
Metal.
I was going to
body.
say, just as effective as
Ding, ding.
fish heads.
Yeah.
It eventually calms down, and they treat all these
Sweet.
people and things, and they kind of. I forgot his name now. What did I call him?
Basil.
No,
Acno.
Otago.
Otago.
Oh, you were close, Jack.
So Acno does eventually sort of summon up the courage to come over to you and kind of like, we've not seen your kind. We need to fetch the priests.
No, they're the worst
priest.
ones to bring.
Yeah.
Leave the priest.
You have to.
Religion is the opium of the people.
Oh wow, well, that's the Communist Manifesto again.
See, I was going to tone down the communism, and then they brought up priests, and I was like,
Yeah,
well,
lean into it.
yeah,
But we must anoint you before you go to face the one from the shadows.
we are the anointed ones, hence the metal. Of course, they can't understand what I'm saying, so I'm just sort of
Yeah.
firing, fire in the air and spinning in circles. Yeah.
You're really helping with my "don't worry, we're not going to hurt you" message.
Unfortunately, I can't directly communicate to Octobot to say, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Earth culture, but there was a thing called Robot Wars, and I'm just a kill a lot right now. Ching, 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 ching.
Dear Lord. It will all settle down, and they do come, and somebody, you know, does the whole,
I don't know that.
puts a blessing on you, and whatever their cultural thing is. Are you gonna let them do? They're kind of like, you know, they're painting symbols onto you and all that kind of thing.
I'd rather you didn't, but
we all get a strap-on painted on us.
You've now all got a
standard
phallus.
Friday night.
Yeah, your phallus painted onto your.
So glad I'm not there right now.
Yeah. And they will. It's like, well, if you're ready, we'll take you off
I'd
into
quite
the depths.
see.
Let's go, Bot.
Oh.
If there were Bennies in this game, I'd be taking them off.
I know, I wanted to see how many people I could upset with that one.
So before we go and fight the, what are we calling it?
The one from the shadows.
The one from Shadows. Could you
Turn on
tell?
torches.
Shadows, not shallows.
Could you Shadows?
Although he is aquatic, so
That's
who
just
knows?
my accent.
shadow.
My accent. Gonna pick. Can you tell me a bit about them? Are they shadowy?
The ones from the shadows.
Yes. What we're fighting? Do you know? Give us some intel.
No one knows. It comes from the black.
Oh God.
People head in and never seen again. So we have scavengers that go out and they find goods for us to use and bring them back. But everyone talks about the ones from the shadows, but no one ever sees them. Nobody comes back.
Right.
We just know that they are foul beasts that, you know, rip and render us.
Thunderdome it is.
Right.
Teeth,
Why do they bother
claws,
going down in
savagery.
the first place?
Yeah,
They
I don't
strike
know.
from nowhere.
Oh,
No
the
one
shadow.
sees them. Well,
Right. Well, I've obviously told this to
but
everybody else.
you being a god, you
No, I never said I was a god. I said I was a robot.
God.
that word
No,
again.
I
What, is that
referred
another
to-
word for God?
I referred to you as my
Sandy.
children. But
Yeah. Let's pretend robots are a subset of God for now.
right. Yeah.
Maybe
go with it.
if we have time once we've
And if
dealt with
Subset
this.
of God is not an album,
Yeah.
absolutely should be.
I'll have to do all our character art together as these robots on a fake
Yeah.
album cover.
For sure.
Walking across a space Abbey Road.
We've assembled the whole point of the arena battle was to find the best of the best, and for once and for all to go and seek the one from the shadows and destroy them.
Well, it's my
Yeah,
guy.
and then we
it's
can
my guy
modify
Browning.
them.
Off you go. Go on. I say we all go and find the ones from the shadows and fuck them up a bit, but you know,
Send Danson in. Or Gorilla Bee,
Yeah.
whatever it's the Gorilla Bat.
we've got a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
Danson's
that's what I
absolutely.
do.
Yeah,
But
Danson will do whatever you want him to
I've
do.
fed this back to the group now, so I feel like it should be a group decision.
Okay.
Although I'm still shifty about you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
I mean,
fair.
to clarify, a couple of hours ago I wasn't in a robot body. I don't really know what's going on or what's at stake. So I
Oh, you were
mean-
very keen to come in and scare the shit out of them.
Oh yeah, but I
Is
would have
this
been.
a dream?
I would have
That's
been.
my,
Yeah.
is
No.
it really happening? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a swarm bot. I mean,
And
that's-
also, I would have
I
been
mean, if you
happy
die
to
in a
scare the
dream,
shit
you
out of a
just
bunch
wake
of random aliens that didn't know better as my
This is
Terran
just
form as well.
shadows.
While
Right,
they're all
and I have
debating
torches.
this, you can now get around
And
down
flashlights
corridors,
as well.
and you can move further down the corridor now if
Yeah.
you want to. The kind of things have
Absolutely.
quietened down a bit because a lot of people have come back in to see what's going on in this
Yeah.
conversation.
I would.
You make your way down the corridor, and you eventually get into an area where again it opens out, and for all the world, you're looking at what we describe in Earth terms as an orrery. It looks like an orrery, but the planets have been taken out of it. So there's kind of like a centre to it, and then you know the clockwork things that have the little planets and put around on the thing. It looks like that, but and you can see where the planets would sit, but they're not there. It's like someone's stolen the marbles out of it. This thing is huge. You know, it's
Yeah.
massive. But in the centre is another one of these really irritatingly familiar symbols. Make the roll.
Ooh.
Yeah, come
On what am I adding?
Erudition.
What have you got that's really good that would make sense?
So
I mean, it's kind of like-
potentially insight would give me an extra 3.
Yeah, erudition, insight, science even.
Oh,
it's strong.
Oh.
It's very
11,
Wow.
12 plus 3.
Okay, and the last thing that's going to happen today is that you suddenly realise it just that moment where you realise what it is that you're looking at, and what's in the centre of this orrery is one of the ancient jump gates that are littered and have been disused. Well, nobody knows who made them, nobody knows where they came from, but they're one of the great jump gates, and this is an image of one of the jump gates that litter the galaxy and are inert and have been inert for.
I'm going to
Forever.
scream
Ship
mentally,
size.
really loudly at Kiki. Guys!
Can I hear it? Do I have to roll for it?
Yeah, go on. We'll let it push out from here.
Are they ship size, these kind of things, are they?
They're enormous
Yeah,
objects. So you all know about them. Everybody knows about them. You just being in a weird place. It's not like why would that come to your head immediately
Erudition?
kind of thing. Yeah, well, it was erudition. That's what you rolled on before.
Okay, sweet.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I've got 12.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh,
And
that's
what?
Got
one
another
more.
one.
So-
So that's
oh.
This
18.
so everybody refers to in the hegemony. They're referred to as the progenitors. Everyone presumes that there's an ancient race that were knocking around a long, long time, at least 100,000 years before present times, that had incredible technology that allowed them to literally leap from instantaneously from one area of the galaxy to another. That's what everybody thinks these things are. Nobody's ever been able to work out what they do, and they are far in advance of any technology. Even the fastest warp ships can't get anything like that close to being able to do stuff.
With a roll of 26, will I have kind of acquired an understanding of how to make it work? Like an instant of
I would say that
revelation.
absolutely something goes into these bowls that are empty. It looks like it can be altered in some way. It's probably not a manual thing. There's probably something that has to do it. It's probably a lot more complex than it actually looks at first glance. But this seems to be, if this is the engine that they're referring to, then this might be something to do with the way that the jump gates work, or something to do with that. That's what you would get. But you absolutely know that's definitely that. You've seen these things, you know. There are programs made about them. You know, you have archaeologists going and talking about the wonders of the progenitors. Very few remains are left of the progenitors. It's not like you find artifacts all over the place or something. We're talking about things from at least 100,000 years ago. This stuff is really ancient. So it just doesn't turn up very often. And yet there are these almost indestructible to anybody's these gates that are sort of plotted around known space, but are inert and lots of research been done, but nobody knows how they work or what you do with them. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we shall call it for today. With you guys going off to get the one in the shadows, and have we found the secrets to the jump gates? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us. This was Cease and Dice-ist, and we will see you again another time for yet more adventures. Goodbye.
Bye. Love you.
You can.
Bye.
Dear me, son.
What?
The secrets of the entire universe. The thing the entire civilization was looking for, and you had the manual and chucked it away.
Yeah. Just
Oh
going
my
to
John,
God,
have you
did
stopped the
you?
stream?
Yes.
John?
Yeah.
It's paperwork.
I just stopped the
No, I
stream.
love it.
Press stuff.
Did you chuck it
just
away, or
press
did you
space
just not
bar
read
on
it?
the
I just didn't
recording
read
as
it.
well.
I know where it is.
Know where it is.
Yeah.
Right, we'll go back for
I've
it.
literally,
Yeah, the question is, do my treads run over it first?
Yeah, press space, yeah.